that's a little more like Sonic. That's less like, you are about to board a ride. All that's fine, but you punch a boulder, and we just won't accept that. Hey everybody, Roger Craig Smith. I'm here on the Party Chat podcast, and I'll be honest, they have threatened me with an assembly of all of my voices. I don't know about all, but a lot of my voices from throughout my career, and I'm going to be reacting in real time to these things, so I'm scared to death. Introducing Pizza Hut's new Ultimate Stuffed Crust Pizza. With tons of toppings and cheese baked right into the crust, it's unlike anything you've ever seen. I mean, that's just enthusiastic retail guy, from back in the day, which is so funny to hear, but yeah, and then of course the Sonic fan base has picked up, because that basically sounds like Sonic, to a certain degree. That was at a time in my life when I literally was just sort of starting out. I mean, I think people think that I knew what I was going to do in my life and with this career. I want to say like 4 Super Bowls, we were pre-game sponsors, so I would be at my friend's house attending their Super Bowl party and laughing because I'm listening to my voice on like every commercial break. What is it like? Any crust, any size, any toppings, just $14.99 and only at your Pizza Hut. It was always just this hilarious moment for me where I'm like, well, that just paid for this party.
That's awesome.
Not everybody can be strong. Let's go now. Just going through like a violet wind.
No, I don't think that's me. I'm in the game, but I don't think that was my character. But I can tell you this. I got a call from a gentleman that I worked with at the time down in Tustin on like a Friday afternoon. And he called me at like 2 and he's like, dude, are you in town? I'm like, yeah. He's like, do you think you could get down here today? And I'm like, yeah, what's going on? He goes, I need help. We're trying to wrap up a video game. And I'm like, yeah. And it was literally the first time I'd ever done a video game voiceover. I think it went through 2 different languages before going into English. So I think it was like initially like it was either Korean or Chinese, then into Japanese, then into English. So it was literally butchered in terms of like all the sentence structure and that kind of thing. We were trying to figure out certain things and what words we were saying and why. And my favorite memory of this is like we kept coming across this word that was just might with an exclamation mark. And so we just kept saying, like, I was like, well, what do we do? And he's like, I don't know, maybe it's like a battle cry. And we're like, okay, we'll go with that. So we just kept saying like might, like over and over, like might. And then at the end of the session, we finally have like a line where he says something like, hello, Mr. Might.
I see, Mr. Might. I'll take this case.
And we're like, oh my God, it's the dude's name. We're like, so it's the equivalent. I always make the jokes, like the equivalent of me running around going like, Larry.
Can you do it for Skyler real quick?
Skyler.
It's my new ringtone.
Skyler.
Anyone who sees my art will be captivated by its sheer brilliance. Fine then. I'll give them a grand performance.
My ultimate art. I love that. He is a wonderfully psychopathic, fun character to play. It's so funny. You'll meet fans at conventions that'll ask you very detailed questions about Naruto, and the sheer volume from the manga is like insane. You show up, you get into the booth, you're there with your, director and engineer, and it's literally like turn around, go to the wall behind you, and you will find all of the binders that contain all of the scripts for all of the episodes. And you pull out, show number 297 or 643, flip to the page that is the lines for whatever character you might be doing. In addition to doing like a character that you are familiar with, they'll throw usually 2 incidental characters at you in a session. So you're going to do like, Hidden Leaf Village Ninja member number 4, and guy in biker bar, kind of thing. Halfway through, I started really enjoying this character because it's rare that you get to dive in long form into a character. And he just like Deidara just became such a very, very cool character to play. Fans of Naruto that will come up and say, oh man, the Shippuden series, like that's like he's one of my favorite members of the Akatsuki. So I'm pretty stoked on that one character.
Kara and her entourage are in love with dress number 2, a compromise between the red dress Kara liked and the more traditional look her mother-in-law prefers.
And there you go.
I love it. Nice job on the edit there. And there you go.
There you go.
And there you go. Look at that. See, that's how you know I'm Irish. I try to rock the little driver's cap every now and then. I feel like, look at me, I'm so dapper. So yeah, Say Yes to the Dress. We did 14 seasons. I learned that I was technically not the first narrator for Say Yes to the Dress. I had auditioned. I don't know if they saw my middle initial or if they said, we need to get Roger Smith to be the narrator. And they had reached out to, I believe, Roger G. Smith's representation and called him in. About halfway through, they were realizing it sounds very different than the audition that we were listening to from Roger Smith. and they realized their mistake, of course, paid him for his session and his time and whatnot. That was a story that I heard like probably, I don't know, maybe a year later. Very, very funny little thing that I was technically not the first, say us to the dress narrator, but oh yeah, Billy, right?
Nothing can stop it now.
Wasn't it Billy?
Curtis Miller.
Curtis Miller, sorry. I was Billy, what am I thinking of? Curtis Miller. Oh yeah, look at this mutation. This was so much fun.
In my own personal way.
I would have to imagine it was the work that I did here that had Capcom kind of going, yeah, we could see our character Chris Redfield sounding like that guy as well.
So you think that doing that role helped you get that job as Chris Redfield?
Without a doubt,
obviously,
yeah.
right?
I think so. I mean, like, so much of everything is in this business is like familiarity and like an understanding of like, okay, we've seen this person a number of times. This person will be somebody we want to work with and that kind of thing. And that's half the battle, it seems like. I'm sure that helped grease the wheels of when they were saying, hey, would you consider this? They'd go, oh yeah, that voice print would match, our Chris character.
Was this scene mocap?
No, God, no. In fact, I'm sure it was.
Yeah.
I didn't do it. I would have come in at the tail end of this because I believe this would have been released maybe in Japanese originally.
Right, yeah.
And maybe this was a dubbing at the time. I honestly don't remember.
When you're acting out something this physical, will you actually do it, or do you kind of try to stay right next to the mic the whole time?
You have to stay right next to the mic, but there's elements of things that you just, I mean, like every voice actor that I've ever worked with has some sort of a habit. There's things that we do that you can see where we place our energy. I'll point forward in front of the mic, kind of thing to put my energy. I've watched people stand on one foot. They lift one leg when they perform, and it's like, so you're always trying to but it's
a little kinetic.
It's one of the reasons why it's a very casual industry. If you wear a t-shirt, you're not going to make a ton of noise, but like Skyler's shirt would be the worst voiceover shirt ever, that jacket, just because it's loud enough as it is, let alone
can't even move around that much either.
Logan, where'd you come from?
Steve Bloom.
My danger room.
My danger room.
How could you? I wasn't even finished, and now, I gotta start completely over.
So put upon. That was, I think, my first foray into being a part of like a rad. I was nervous as all get up. Without a doubt, I was so nervous being a part of this huge ensemble cast. I didn't know Steve very well at the time, but my gosh, those pipes, and now we're good friends to this very day. Fred Tatasciore. Oh my gosh, we had Nolan North. You had I think Phil Lamar was in there. Like there were so many. Yeah, there were all these names. Everybody that I had looked up to in this industry was suddenly in the room, and I'm there, and I'm like, I don't know what I'm doing. I was nervous as could be, and I think I was so quiet behind my mic because I just was like, I'm just gonna sit here and absorb, what everybody else is doing, kind of thing. But no, being a part of like X-Men is always awesome. Oh, this guy? Yeah, I don't. Yeah, I mean that. There's some acting, right?
You mocap that scene?
Bold, of course. And I was the physical model for all the rendering that they utilized, because clearly you can see. I mean, that's just me. It's me with my shirt off, essentially. It's identical. Yeah, no, Chris Redfield. I mean, like boulder punching. It'll never ever not be old. It'll never.
Did you know when doing that scene, like, oh, this scene is going to be a fan favorite forever?
No, because I guarantee you, at this point in the production process, that I was probably not even privy to seeing what it was. I guarantee you, the direction would have been like, I think on this one you're punching a rock, and I'm like, what sound do you make for that? Do I go, ugh, and then go, ow? But I always laugh with Resident Evil fans because I just go, why is this the thing that you guys feel is a bridge too far when you've already been fighting giant tarantulas, Wesker standing in a field of lava, catching your rocket-propelled grenades and throwing them back at your helicopter, flying around the inside of this volcano cave? I'm like, all that's fine, but you punch a boulder, and we just won't accept that, so...
What are you and your allies planning? Is this what my father discovered? Is this why he was killed? I'm sorry. Were you hoping for a confession?
I think that might be Yuri Lowenthal.
Io essere felici in questa vita e aspirare a esserlo nella prossima. Requiescat in pace.
Like you say, Requiescat in pace. Boy, the Italian, that blows my mind because there's so many times that I worked very closely on AC2 with Ida Darvish, who was my dialect coach. Thank goodness that she was in the room with me so many times because that's how we essentially got through this, is she would coach me on the pronunciation of the words. What an absolute, like, incredible opportunity to work with just amazing people. It's to this day, like, one of my favorite projects. I don't have an all-time, do-all, end-all favorite project. It's impossible to pick something like that, but working on an AC2 was a challenge. It was a gift. It was exciting because it wasn't like a legacy character where somebody was going to get to say, well, you're not my Captain America, or you're not my Sonic the Hedgehog, or you're not my Batman, which I totally understand all that, but it's neat when you get to forge something. When you get to craft something new, and Ezio was absolutely that. And the idea that this Scotch-Irish guy came in and because they wanted an actor who could do the 3 age ranges, I landed this role of a lifetime. So it's amazing to go back and listen to that stuff.
Did you learn Italian, or were you just repeating phrases without knowing what you were saying?
Literally just repeating. I mean, I would understand what I was saying in the lines because I could understand the context of what it was in English and the understanding why I'm saying what I'm saying. But no, I wanted to actually start studying Italian after that, but I just started getting busy. It was getting really hard to pick up a second language like that. But no, I mean, a lot of people are like, did you learn Italian? It's like, well, technically, yes, for just those snippets of lines.
Hey there, and welcome to Sonic Spinball. I hope you're all ready for some high-speed fun. I just can't wait. Now, before we get spinning, there are some things you'll probably need to know. So listen carefully. This is for your safety. First up, you need to be at least 1.2 meters tall to ride. You hear how I'm talking nice and slow? Because
it was for a ride. And I think this came out, this stuff got leaked, not leaked, but like revealed. And the Sonic fan base went nuts because they just kept hearing a slow, very weird delivery. And it was like, oh my gosh, and it was way energetic. And it was because it was for an amusement park ride. And anytime you're doing ride announcements and things like that, you have to speak a little slower and with a lot more diction and clarity because it's going to be coming through loudspeakers in a loud environment and that kind of thing. Yeah, so the Sonic Spinball.
But that's technically your first Sonic credit. That is when you first started voicing the character, technically.
I think so, theoretically. I honestly want to go back and think, did we start with the Alton Towers stuff as some of my first work as Sonic? And it might have been. But it's so funny to hear so much energy and yeah, I think I was pretty vocally taxed at the end of that one.
So, how are you guys feeling today?
feeling good. I'm looking forward to seeing the sights as I tear through such a beautiful town.
Yeah, there you go. See, that's a little more like Sonic. That's less like you are about to board a ride, and you need to wear. I love the uncontraction of can't. It was like cannot. You cannot. Clarity for legal purposes. Colors was my first official Sonic game. Free Riders was my first video game as Sonic the Hedgehog.
Is that my little hug? My little hug bug. Give me a hug bug. Come here, hug bug. Oh, look at you, so grown up. That's Frank Chopper. That's Frank Smith, Margaret's dad. He's the helicopter pilot for the news station and Regular Show. We were doing another episode of Regular Show. JG said, "Hey, can somebody here do scratch vocals for Jesse Ventura?"
The first line is "Ooh yeah, say hello to my little hug bug." And I was doing Randy Macho Man Savage, and JG's like, "No, that's Randy Macho Man." I was like, "Oh, I was like Jesse Ventura." Oh, I was like,
"Oh yeah, he's the governor who has all those conspiracy theories, and he's got that Minnesota thing going on."
My man's got range on these.
And all of a sudden, Chris Salter, our director, she gets on and she says, "Who's that?" And I was like, and she goes, "I had no idea you could do that." And I went, "Neither did I." And it was like, and all of a sudden we just started laying it down. And JG was like, "You're going to be so much funnier than Jesse Ventura would be." And so I think they called back the representation and were like, we're going to go a different direction. But thank you. They didn't end up having to book Jesse because I was doing a good enough job. So, and it's such a fun character.
Hell yeah.
Get away!
Again, Steve Bloom. We meet again.
Where's the penguin?
I don't know. Wrong answer.
Where is he?
I swear.
Swear to me.
Damn. Angry young Batman chokes the guy out, and he learns, you can't be that aggressive. Damn.
Dude, give me a where's the detonator?
Oh, just
Where's the detonator?
I mean, it all depends. I mean, I can't, my God, like,
You want teeth? I want answers.
good Lord. Like, can you imagine what it's like to see stuff like that and realize you get to be the voice? It's unreal.
This
Pinch
one
me
was
moment.
a big one for you, right? Because you had to take over for Kevin Conroy.
Yes, without a
And
doubt.
that was like big shoes to fill.
Well, so I always say that you're never going to you're never going to fill those shoes. Those shoes are Kevin's and Kevin's alone, and Mark's and Mark's alone. We knew this is going to be like all eyes are on us, as in the arms folded, going, okay, let's see what you guys can do to even come close to comparable performances. And so it was never about filling shoes. It was always about making something that was believable to be like this younger version of Batman would graduate to become what Kevin had established.
Let's up the ante.
I love it. So stop right
First
there.
one of you.
My gosh, the premiere of this show on Disney XD, it was the launch of Batman Arkham Origins, and it was me starring in that Disney Planes movie as Ripslinger. It was an incredible year of my life. It was unreal. But being an American and getting to voice something as iconic to comic books as Captain America, as an American, dream come true. And to moonlight doing crosstown, going to DC and getting to do Batman, like, what on earth is happening? Man, my whole life at that point was just so vastly different. I was like, oh my gosh, what is happening in my career? How is this possible?
Legends aren't born.
They're built.
They're built.
For speed.
I am
I'm more France.
10 years ago, air racing needed a new star.
So I gave it away.
He remembers it.
Oh my gosh. So I was working on Tinkerbell. I left the recording session and I walk out, and Jason Hinkle, who was the casting associate, he was escorting me out of the building, and I looked up and there was a model airplane hanging from the ceiling, and I went, oh, who's Corsair? And he went, what? And I was like, the model airplane. I was like, is somebody an airplane, fan, and they're building model airplanes? I started explaining to him. I was like, yeah, it's my favorite airplane from World War II. I was a fan of like Pappy Boyington and Baba Black Sheep and all these shows and stuff like that. And I was like, I love the Corsair. It's just such an iconic airplane to that era. And he said, well, funny enough, we have a table read coming up, in front of John Lasseter, and we got all these things. He's like, I will definitely throw your name in the ring. Tons of actors were there. Table read ended. Lasseter said, Ripslinger and El Chu, those guys that's them. He just said those are the characters. I knocked on wood every single time I walked in for recording sessions because it was an absolute dream come true. I still own more merchandise than should be allowed of that because I bought so many things. Duplo Lego sets, you name it.
I'm shouting because this up infected motherfucker with guts hanging out of his mouth just spit a bunch of toxic snot at me.
I could work out all of my stress from traffic on this job. It was the best. It was so much fun. Over 10 years later, the gameplay is such a replayable game. At the end of the day, if it's interactive, we want to interact with it. And this game skirts all of that. In so many little moments, there's some very cringy, laughable little things, but what a fun protagonist to play. A guy who wears his heart on his sleeve and is just so put upon by all this and drops F-bomb after F-bomb after F-bomb. So much fun.
I can win this thing with one eye closed, or both eyes closed. Hell, I don't even have to show up.
I love it. So Mirage is as close. When you were saying easiest character to play, I think vocally, I don't have to do too much. He's like right there. It's just maybe a little bit more so my personality. And this is a testimony to Respawn. What a great company to work for in terms of from the get-go, they were like, we want you guys to help us develop these characters. We want our actors to be a part of this community. We want to announce every actor that's being a part of this. And to this day, such a fun gig. I just keep pinching myself every time the phone rings for another, Mirage session because I'm just like, I love it. They're still going. Such a great character, so well written, so much fun to play. And they just let us develop and create and have a ton of fun. There's never, I can't call it work. Getting to voice Mirage is it's not even a job. It's I'm always looking forward to those sessions because they're just fun. We get to create this really, really cool guy. He has big bravado and tons of insecurity, and that feels like me in a nutshell.
Fisher gases, but the conversion rate's way too low.
Yeah, you're going with, it's funny because you're picking Hunky Claggor from season 2, which was a very fun thing for me because, spoiler alert, things don't go so well for the Friends at the beginning of season 1 for Arcane. But my goodness, we worked on that project throughout the years. It was about 5.5-year project, believe it or not, being a part of that. And from the get-go, it was just, you could tell this was a special group. this was a special project. I remember getting invited to Riot's campus, and we saw a previs kind of a thing. It was an animation example, the animation studio in France that was coming up with this stuff, and we all were like slack-jawed, like at the end of this little snippet that they played for us, and we just looked at each other and we were like, this is going to be insane. And to this day, I mean, they set the bar for storytelling and animation. The theme song, oh my god! You know, there's so much stuff that went right with Arcane, and I loved getting to be a part of Claggor. But it's funny to we dropped his voice a little bit for Hunky Claggor because it was this, you know, this surreal alternate universe kind of a thing. But
just doing Claggor, you know, right up there, like, you know, hey little man, yeah. How'd you find that place? Like
that sort of voice work for me is like a ton of fun to do because it's far enough away from me that people don't instantly go, oh, there's Roger Craig Smith. You know, it's not a Pizza Hut commercial.
I'm born!
I don't think I've ever been a part of anything more unique than that. I love, this was a neat little thing too, because Shakipio is voiced by Colleen O'Shaughnessy, who is Tails to my Sonic. So here we go again, the partners are back at it. And such an adorable little zany, wild, weird talking egg yolk with butt cheeks. Just like, I remember I got the call, got the offer, and it was like, yeah, I'll do this. And in fact, we kind of changed the voice halfway through. I was doing something a little higher pitched, and it didn't have any texture to the voice. And it was therefore kind of conflicting with what Colleen was doing for Shakipio. I feel like every voice actor out there knows how to do this kind of thing. Like, and even non-voice actors can do that sort of a thing. So it felt like it was a last-minute decision in the middle of a session where we were like, we got to differentiate. Let's add a little bit more texture. And I came up with that and started doing that. A wonderful, wonderful project. I still can't believe I get to be a part of something as globally massive as what is Gudetama. I mean, it's like, it is huge in Japan and it's huge worldwide. And now I get to add, you know, a talking egg yolk with butt cheeks that is so clever and adorable and such a darkly comedic sort of a production. Yeah, that was a blast being a part of that.
Roger, I feel like I just lived your whole life with you, man. That was awesome. Which one of your characters was your favorite?
Oh gosh, that's so hard to say. Like I never have, I always say my next favorite character is my next one. It's like the favorite character that I have is the next one. It means I work again. It means somebody wants me to be a part of something that they hope I can help execute a creative, collaborative thing. And as you can see, man, lightning has struck so many times in my life. I can't pick a favorite out of that stuff. I just consider myself very fortunate to still be working, still being busy, and getting to think that there might be something else in my future is where my hopes are there. But no, I can't pick a favorite.
Well, in order to get Roger's next gig, we need everybody to smash the like button right now. Thanks for watching, guys. We'll see you next time.